I wanna try and take in all the highs, embrace them for more than a moment's time. I want you, please don't move when I push you away. I know I contradict myself some days, but will you ride the lows with me?
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I am your host, Kristin Sunanta Walker. Our goal is to help discussions about mental health be a regular part of your daily life, no different than discussions about physical health. Mental illness can be a topic of discussion under the umbrella of mental health, along with so many other topics. This show is the original program on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com. Our network of shows are played in over 180 countries and cover more topics under that umbrella than you can possibly imagine. We were talking about mental health long before it became cool and popular to talk about, and thank goodness it has become so popular. We have incredible guests, advocates, patients, experts, people. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy our intro music, a song named Lows, written by Aubrey Toon. You can find her music at www.aubreytoone.com.
That night when I started praying, I cried, will you ride the lows with me? Will you ride the lows with me? When I'm down, my vision gets blurry.
I always hate the saying, hey, ladies, because when men say it, it sounds awful. But in this case, no, it's coming from a female. Hello, ladies. Welcome to Mental Health News Radio Network.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
We'll edit that other part out. So tell our listeners who you are, and then we'll get into what you're doing. But first, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are.
All right. Hi, Kristin. I am Dr. Brooke Schneider, and I am so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having us, first of all.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I am a child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, specifically an integrative psychiatrist, and I am the co-creator of Women Strong, and I'm here with my other co-creator, Dr. Nicole Lewis. Yay.
Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Nicole Lewis. I am a naturopathic doctor and, as Dr. Schneider said, the co-creator of Women Strong. Super excited to be here.
So tell me, what is Women Strong and when did it come about? Why did you decide to do this? What is it?
Yeah, so Women Strong is an online women's wellness program. And it's funny that you said that you hate hi ladies or hey ladies.
Only when men say it.
Yes. And interestingly, with the formation of Women Strong, my aunt, who is one of my just beloved people in my life and one of my mentors, she's just amazing. She said to me, gave feedback about Women Strong, because we start a lot of our expert interviews with hi ladies. And you can hear that on our podcast and everything. But she said, I can't believe you use the word ladies. And she sort of gave me the historical background of like feminism and, because
Right.
she was like a feminist activist. And she said, we fought against those labels and those words. And here you are, an online women's wellness program committed to empowerment and, and you're using ladies. So I actually did some research about this with our community and our listeners and some older and younger women. And we're sort of like bringing ladies, that term, back in an empowering way.
Because how else are you supposed to do it? Hello, women. Hello, females. It just doesn't sound.
Exactly. Yes. So anyway, but to get back to your question of what is Women Strong and how did this come about? So, Dr. Nicole and I met working in an integrative mental health clinic that really focuses on finding root causes and holistic solutions to all of our complaints, not just mental health and emotional symptoms, but also physical symptoms and how those both interrelate. And we met there and we became friends. And out of seeing lots of women, we both love women and women's health and really empowering women to put themselves first and be healthy from a holistic approach. We started, connecting on like, hey, we're working with all these women. They're experiencing a lot of the same challenges and same, clinical picture. And we're running into the same roadblocks with maybe having them stick to treatment plans and things like that. Because, us women, like we're juggling a zillion plates.
Yeah. At the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. And so we created this program that at first we thought was going to be for our patients to connect along their health journeys sort of in person. And then we thought bigger and we said, you know what? This curriculum would be so awesome to reach so many women and not be limited by location. We can make this an online thing where people can support one another as they learn tools to be healthy through our curriculum. Nicole, please jump in with more information if you want to talk about it too.
Yeah, and Brooke will say we a lot of the time, but the idea definitely stemmed from her. And she'll tell you that she remembers like the day that she kind of came up with this idea and broached this idea to me. So I want a lot of the credit to definitely go to Brooke of this is her baby, this is her creation. I really am just kind of more of a supportive role, I would say, in making it come to fruition. But really, like, she is the brains and the mastermind behind all of this.
That's so sweet. But the real beauty of it is that nothing would
that
have
it's
happened.
The collaboration.
It is a collaboration, and it never would have happened without Dr. Nicole because I'm so creative and all over the place, and she really gets things done and like says, get it out there, put that like our ebook I've been obsessing over. I have a perfectionism affliction like many of us do. And
Right.
she's like, this thing was good to go like so long ago. Would you publish that puppy? And we have. So please, everybody come buy our Women Strong ebook, which is based on our curriculum. But I never would have released that without Nicole.
Isn't that funny too? Because it's like, I had someone say that to me, you can have different volumes. Like this can be volume 1.0, you can upgrade it to 2.0. So like, because I get it. We get so into it and we get in the weeds of it and then we get so perfectionist about it and then it doesn't get out. So yeah, and it so helps to have someone, that goes, okay, let's just take this now and you can add to it later.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's why women's stronger together,
Yeah.
Yeah. So when people, I went to the website and I know there's a membership, a monthly membership. So what is the process and what happens when someone joins?
Yes. So when someone joins, they immediately get access to our entire curriculum, which includes written lessons that have a daily challenge, with each lesson that we give, and our whole library of expert interviews. So when we created Women Strong, we said, okay, what are the big pillars of health and the foundational areas that women need to pour water into these buckets to, have a foundation for health? And what we came up with, what we feel are the foundations for health are nutrition, physical health, self-care, mental and emotional health, movement, and stress management. And so we have lessons and expert interviews under all of those umbrellas. And Nicole, can you tell the story of our mindset? That's the other foundation, the mindset section. Can you tell that story?
I don't know if I remember the story.
Well, how you brought in the mindset section at the last minute. Like we had our whole curriculum and we were about to launch and you said, wait a minute, we're missing
Oh
something.
yeah. Yeah. So I was doing, so my background is in medicine. I have no sort of like business background, sales background, anything like that. And I was going through like a marketing program to teach me like how to market our course and our program that we created. And the thing that they started with in their program was talking about mindset and how you have to have the right mindset, addressing limiting beliefs and getting yourself into the right space in order to be successful. And it was, just one of those aha moments where it's so true. Anytime with our patients as well, if somebody is struggling with thinking that they won't be able to follow through with their treatment plan, or I can't get healthy, or I've been sick for so long, I don't know that I can get better. Those are all limiting beliefs in their treatment process too. So yeah, I brought it up to Brooke and I said, I think we should really start our program with addressing all of those limiting beliefs, identifying and addressing all of those limiting beliefs, setting goals and intentions, differentiating between goals and intentions so that they really can be successful going through our program, and then also identifying their why. So it's super common for patients to be really motivated in the beginning and then, maybe 2-3 months down the line kind of falling off. I think we've all experienced that anytime you've ever, made a New Year's resolution and you're not following through with it by the end of February, right? We've all experienced that before.
Yeah. And then you load, oh, I'm a failure and and shame and guilt and all that stuff on top of it. And then it's like, yeah, that just builds and builds and builds. And then you go, yeah, I'm just never going to try anything.
Right, exactly. So we talk about all of that in the mindset section and help people identify their why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be healthy? And I really think that it will help people be set up for success and give them something to come back to when times get hard.
I love that. When did you start this and when did you launch?
Yeah, so we launched the summer of 2019.
Oh,
M-
wow. Just
m-
before the pandemic.
Yes, and we got a little bit more excited and passionate about our program, I would say, when the pandemic hit,
I bet.
because we really saw the need there. And I still think the need is there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just did a show with someone that I've been friends with and been doing, we have like 1,000 shows or something together. And we were just literally talking about, the mental well-being piece of coming out of 2020 and 2021 and being in 2022, and how do things look now? What is there enough distance now to look back at your behavior towards yourself, towards others during 2020, which everyone was at, 5 alarm chili stage, DEFCON 1 stage, all those things. And how were you behaving then? How did you handle that? Not to put shame or guilt, but to go, oh, this is how I am under extreme duress. Interesting. What makes me feel good about these things, and what should I maybe tweak,
Yes, absolutely.
So you guys launched and then you started a podcast.
Yes, that's been so interesting and fun as well, because we were doing the expert interviews, already. That's like the gold. I always say it's the gold of our program, because our members get to be present on the interviews. Unlike, this interview, it's just the three of us. And but the members get to ask questions at the end of our experts, and they ask the best questions. And it's really beautiful seeing how much access our members can get to a variety of providers. It's been really cool.
So could you give me an idea of some of the, what people do that you had come on, and topics and things like that?
Yeah, well, our curriculum is so broad because I told you the modules, right? So we
Yep.
have such a variety of experts. Nicole, feel free to jump in, but like in the nutrition section, we had an acupuncturist talk about nutrition as part of traditional Chinese medicine. And that's one example of the nutrition. Physical health, we've had like a sex therapist talk about desire differences,
Mm.
chiropractic care, Lyme disease, like just periods and hormones. That's one
That's
of our podcast
awesome.
episodes is What's Your Period Telling You? It's so great.
So
And
you
then,
you so
yeah.
you do those and you record them, and you record them for later listening, but you're also doing them live so that people can ask questions, or is it just that it's live for that moment and that's that?
No, it is in our library forever. So once you
Wow.
set, you ask, what do members get when they sign up? So let's say somebody buys our membership, signs up for a membership right now. They have our entire library of female expert interviews. And moving forward, since they're a member, they get to come on the Zoom calls and be present and listen to me or Nicole interviewing someone, and then have a little time at the end to interact. And
It's
then,
fantastic.
yeah, our podcast is based upon excerpts from some of those interviews. So the podcast really came well after we were already established, because a friend of mine who was into podcasts, which I wasn't even listening to podcasts then, she said,
Right.
"You need to make a podcast. Your
Yeah.
program is perfect for that." Yeah.
Yeah, because it tantalizes people too to want to listen more, and then they get the benefit of, everything else by becoming a member to hear the full show. So I love that. That's a beautiful model, that you guys set up, and it's so affordable too. That's what I found fantastic. I was like, really? It's only, what is it, $47 a month?
Yeah.
I mean, hello. I'm like, where do I sign up?
Love it. Nicole, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, and that was something that was super intentional for us as well. Just we wanted to make it accessible. And I think one of my um, biggest passions, I don't know if that's the right word, but one of my big things is I really wish that integrative medicine was more accessible to people. And
Right.
so we really kind of went back and forth, and probably this is more so me than Brooke, because I think this is kind of more of my department, but I really was going back and forth with, how do we price this thing? How do we make it so that it's accessible and people can understand the value of it? Because, the whole thing with pricing is, if it's too low, then people will be like, oh, maybe it's not that valuable. And if it's too high, then
Right.
people can be scared to invest in it. So my intention was, how do we make it so that this is accessible for people? Because there's so much good information. Like Brooke was saying, like, our experts are amazing, and the information that they give, really, like, the value of this program is way beyond anything that we are charging, because of that, we're giving access to these providers who people, maybe in the middle of nowhere, may not have access to that. You may have never heard of a naturopathic doctor before. You might not be able to afford to see a chiropractor, or um, like a physical therapist or something
Acupuncture.
like that.
Yeah, I was
Exactly.
I was thinking too. I mean, yes, there's free information everywhere. All my podcasts and the podcast world, are giantly free information. But the thing that caught me was, oh my gosh, I can actually get on a call and ask this person questions. That's the differentiating piece, that you have
Right.
this time and you can ask all those questions, like, well, what the heck is acupuncture? Or why would I go see a chiropractor? Or why do women only get this particular foot issue? Or whatever it is, just being able to ask that in a safe environment where you're not going to feel like you're dumb for asking that particular question.
Exactly. And we always ask our experts before we end how people can contact them, and how people can reach out to see those types of resources in their community. And so, not only do they get to talk to those providers, but maybe be a little bit more directed in how to pursue that kind of care.
Right, exactly. A question for you, just because I saw this with the pandemic, I saw some shows just absolutely on the network, we've got over 75, and I saw some shows double, triple their listenership, and some shows listenership went down, and they're just starting to climb back out of it now. It was really interesting to get a big read on, well, what are people interested in terms of mental health as a whole? What are they interested in listening to during this particular time? And so I wonder, I know you guys started it just before, but did you see anything like that, drop offs or levels up or anything like that while you were watching this process?
Well, we started our podcast well into the pandemic.
But even membership wise, I mean, just noticing who's coming on and coming on for what particular episodes, that kind of thing. Did it give you a good gauge on, oh yeah, people are really interested in that right now?
Yeah, I think you're sort of putting me on the spot here, and Nicole, feel free to chime in. But because I
Yeah,
haven't thought about this, it's a great question. But the trends that I'm noticing in my practice and in our membership
Mhm.
is women are struggling even more with self-care and
Yeah,
with trauma around the pandemic. We've talked about that a lot with
absolutely.
our experts, the increased incidences of domestic violence and stress and just juggling it all with the kids and the working from
Yeah.
home and stuff like that. Nicole, can you chime in though?
Yeah, I think we definitely saw, when things started to shift in the beginning. I think that we kind of saw that too, of people being not really sure what they can afford and what life was going to look like. So I think there definitely was kind of this like, oh, I'm not really sure in the beginning. And then there definitely was an increased need. So
Yeah.
seeing a lot more engagement around, like Brooke said, mental health, stress management, and self-care. There's kind of been like this big rebound
Yeah.
since that initial, kind of shock and surprise and uncertainty.
Yeah, that's been interesting too, to watch, and being in the field of mental health and then also seeing, oh, okay, well, wait a minute, we're not getting as many listeners and related to this particular piece of mental health, but we are about this other piece. That was so fascinating for all of us on the network to, get this bird's eye view of what topics under this umbrella, were really important. Of course, substance abuse, help. That became a much bigger topic than it already was. And then we're starting to see that just a little bit die down, just a little bit. So it just really, I always find that fascinating. What is it that, I mean, we all went through this thing and we're still going through it, that has never happened before. How did we all get through it with our sanity intact? Or how did we, even with our sanity not intact at times?
Yeah.
So where do you guys want to see this? And I know we got to come up with something, then you guys, because we can't say you gals. That's almost as bad as ladies was, except that you're changing that. But anyway, where you guys see this going for you, or what kind of is what you want it to do?
Yeah, that's a great question because I will admit right now that we are really small, and I am
Yeah.
so excited to be joining the Mental Health News Radio Network. I'm so
Oh,
happy I
thank
got
you.
connected with you because we always joke that the ideal participant or member or quote unquote client for our program is me, Dr. Brooke Schneider. I love our program so much, and I work our program for me. Like when
Mm,
I am constantly reworking my goals and intentions and where I'm going to fill my bucket, and I've been focusing on self-care a lot recently, and as well as movement. That those are cornerstones for me personally. But the joke is that I just want to grow our membership because I love our curriculum and what we have to offer and all of our experts so much. And I just want to hang out with all of the members and just be healthy together. And this is my dream.
And that's awesome. I mean, that's the thing when you create something out of your love and your advocacy around what you do, whether it's something you make a living at or not, that's what I love about this network. It was just, someone said to me the other day, you have to redo your goals here for the network. And I said, what are you talking about? Well, wasn't your goal, Kristin, to make the topic of mental health mainstream? Wasn't your goal to, well, not make, like I did that on my own. I don't mean that. I mean, like, be a part of that, making that happen. Well, accomplished. So what's
Yeah.
your next goal? And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. I have to have another thing. And that's what you guys get to witness too as you do this. I know it's new, but it's just going to keep flowering and growing and growing. I mean, I can't wait to do the curriculum. I can't wait to get on, and I have access to so much. And yet I'm like, ooh, I want to join this, and I want to be able to ask these questions that I have for whoever you guys have on. So it's really inspiring. I mean, my hat's off to both of you. Not that I wear hats, but you know what I'm saying.
Thank you so much. What high praise from someone who I really admire too. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I know you
Nicole,
both have. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Nicole, what is your goal? I told you mine is to
Yeah.
keep living and breathing Women
Yeah.
Strong with all of our members and in my own life.
Brooke doesn't want to do anything else. She just wants to do Women Strong, and that's it. And yeah, I think for me, it's more about quality than quantity. I think that the members that we've had so far have really appreciated the access that they've had, the information that they've received. And that's, where I am fulfilled. We have been talking about, and I guess this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, we've been talking about developing a mentorship program. So that's something that we're working towards. And I really want to see that happen. I really want our members to graduate to the next level and be able to become mentors, and then mentor the people that are newer to our program, and then just kind of build this mentorship community. That's really what I want for our program. Not really necessarily like I want to have, 1,000 members or something like that. I just want our program to grow and for women to be able to be confident stepping into that mentorship role and then lifting other women up.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Thank you for, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
Nicole, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's something we didn't even talk about. The core dream and vision and principle of our program is community and women lifting one another up along the health journey. And so that's what we saw in our clinics. Like, we saw our patients would come in and meet with us. Like, Nicole and I are awesome. I'm just going to brag about us for a second. Like, you can interview all of our patients. Like, they love us. We are awesome clinicians, and women, would come in and meet with us and get all fired up about their treatment plans and really see the connection of, the body and health body and mental health, which is so big, which I think a lot of times, at least in my field in psychiatry, a lot of times, we're just known for giving out meds and talk therapy. And that is just like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to integrative mental health and integrative psychiatry. Like, my treatment plans, and I've taken a lot of cues from Dr. Nicole, our treatment plans are huge. They're, all kinds of contributors and things to do to get your mental health in a healthy place. And they're not just meds and therapy or supplements and therapy. There's just so much to do. And that's what's all in our curriculum. And I always say, like, if you want to tap into my brain and Dr. Nicole's brain, just sign up for the Women Strong membership.
Right,
because
exactly.
You're going to get all the things we work with our patients one-on-one on. But what we saw with our patients, right? So they come with us, they get fired up, they feel good being around us, and they feel hopeful. And that's always the number one thing. I want a patient to leave a session with me feeling hopeful. But then they go out into their lives and they lose steam and they lose stamina. And so Women Strong was created to have that community of women to keep you going. So we're like replicating, like Nicole says with the mentorship program, like we want little Dr. Brooks and Dr. Nicoles out there just bringing their community of women along so that women, about to like be a little bit, just a little bit pro women here and say, I believe women are running the world and need all of the fuel in their tank to just make this world the loving and peaceful and awesome place that it can be. It's up to us women. I'm sorry. No,
No, listen, no apology necessary. You're talking to a true believer. It's not even a believer. I just know that is a fact.
Yay.
You will not get a disagreement from me on that. Yeah, absolutely. So
we're the heart. We are the hearts.
And it's true. I mean, we can't, we hear all these things about, well, you have to, put the life saving mask on yourself first, the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then on and you hear those things, but you don't, sometimes I look at someone saying those things and I think, okay, I understand, but, so it's, you feed off of other people's energy. We do as women. We're definitely known for being more on the empathic side of things. And so we are feeding off that energy, but yeah, we get tapped out. And you're right. I can see where I could be in a room with you, Dr. Brooke, and being like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. And then, a traffic jam, kids upset, pets upset, work thing, and then all that, I feel so good, it's forgotten until my next visit. So I love that there's this piece that people can hang on to keep those empathic, high quality, healthy brain hormones going in between those visits. And if they're not a patient, just keep them going all, even without that.
Yes. One of our members said to me recently, we got on the call early and the expert wasn't there. And she said, I just want to be with you. I want to be like, I want to be around you. And I said, I want to be around you too. And then our expert came on and then she gave her spiel on resilience and creativity and as an access in her self-care. And afterwards, the member and I stayed on and we got so fired up and inspired to get back to like our childhood creativity passions that we like quickly were like, we got to hang up. We want to go do these things.
Right. Exactly. I want to go get out my watercolors and start painting with my fingers right now. Yeah, exactly.
And our members inspire me and us all the time. It's not like, we're the doctors spewing out the information. It's like we're all on this journey together. And that's why I love decreasing mental health stigma. That's like one of our big things we always talk about. You'll hear me talk about it ad nauseum on our podcast because it's such a passion for me because we think like people have it together or people, like aren't going through depression and going to therapy. That is so not true. Like, statistically speaking, you have many people in your life seeking mental care or being afraid to seek mental health care. And like, we're all in this together, especially after the pandemic. We are really all experiencing trauma and mental health concerns on a very massive level.
On a global level. Exactly. Yeah. Well, tell my listeners where they can find more about your program, your website. I know listeners, just so you can find the podcast. It's on the network, but it's also on iTunes and iHeartRadio and every place that you would find a podcast, but tell them where they can go sign up.
Yes. Our website is womenstrongtogether.com and our social media handle is @womenstrongtogether. And then our podcast is just called Women Strong, but access it through Mental Health News Radio for sure. Nicole, do you want to hop in there at all? I feel like I just went on like a total Brooke Schneider rant, babbling Brooke rant.
No, that's good. No, I'm not really anything to add.
Fantastic. I'm so glad that I've got to give our shout out to Leah Barrett. I mean, hello. Is she amazing?
She's so amazing. I love and adore her. And I love her Precarious podcast. And that's how I first found out about you, Kristin.
She's actually, her podcast, which I haven't even told her this yet, but her podcast is one of the most listened in terms of our female hosted podcasts. So
Wow.
you want to get a podcast that is about authenticity and depth from a host that embodies that. Listen to the Precarious podcast.
Yeah, and
It's
talk about a strong woman.
Oh
She
my
is
gosh.
the epitome of resilience and strength and strong, badass female. Leah Barrett.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you both. I'm so glad you're on the network. I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, stick around. We've got more shows coming up. And thank you again for tuning into another episode of Mental Health News Radio.
But will you ride the low, low, lows with me? Will you ride the low, low, lows with me?
One thing you can always count on at Mental Health News Radio Network and my show is that there will always be dogs around. Why? They are natural healers, excellent for your mental health. The original therapy dog Miles has something to say in just a moment. For now, please check out all of our amazing shows at mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com and all your favorite podcast apps. Until next time, I'm Kristin Walker, and thank you for listening.
Me tonight, and I can ride the low, low, lows with me. I can ride the low, low, lows with me. Till my vision clears up perfectly. I can ride the low, low, lows with me.
Good boy.
Oh, that was awesome, you guys. That was so good.
Really? Thank you.
Yay.
Absolutely. I love this. I love that you're doing this.
Totally.